Sweet, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I mean, I know who you are. We introduce ourselves over through the interwebs, but our audience may not. So why don't you just start there and tell me who the hell you are?
Yeah.
And what the hell you do?
I'm Rob Carlson. I love to play music. That's my passion. I own a few businesses, one of them being the Shred Den, which is another passion project of mine. I love guitars, always have. I've collected guitars for a long time. So I decided to turn that into kind of a hobby business.
Mm-hmm.
Be married for 30 years this June. I have two great boys with her, and it's pretty much my life, man. It's music and work and family.
That's it. What else do you need?
That's it, man. Yeah. Stay out of trouble.
I love it. So tell me about, let's unpack the Shred Den a little bit more. So I'm just quite curious.
Sure.
What exactly is it? What exactly do you do there?
Yeah. So it's a guitar shop, right? We try to say, mid-grade to high-end guitars is what we try to sell. We try to cater to the metal community. We're a BC Rich dealer, Vader Cabinets dealer, which are, kind of mainstays in the metal, right? So do new and used stuff. We do repairs, setups, pickup swaps. So nothing really on the north side of town besides Guitar Center. So opportunity presented itself, and my wife really wanted me to clear out the basement of guitars, so that's a good place to put a lot of them. And we started March of 24.
24.
Yep,
okay, so it's only a couple of years old.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
And how's business going?
Business going good. It's a roller coaster. We sold 4 guitars last week, and then some weeks we don't sell any. The repair stuff's been good, so that helps, keeps us going a little bit. We got Matt McGee there, who does a lot of our repairs. We got Jordan Swanson there, who does a lot of our electronics work and stuff like that. So we get a pretty good steady stream of people coming in for maintenance and stuff like that. So it's been fun, man. Getting to know a lot of people that you maybe just pass through at shows or something like that, and they come in and you can talk to them in a quieter environment and stuff like that. So it's been really fun. Glad I did it.
That's exactly why I did the podcast, right? Because it's platonic relationships. You're in the middle of a loud environment, and,
right?
You like these people, but you don't really get a chance to sit down and talk to them. But
right
now we can have a 45-minute chat and record everything. So
yeah,
awesome, man.
Yeah,
cool. So with the repairs, so obviously Guitar Center's down the road. Everybody has a love-hate relationship, right?
Right. Yep. I still shop there.
But what do you guys do with the guitars, with the repair, with the maintenance that kind of like helps you stand out a little bit? Like,
well, pricing for one, we're about half the price of Guitar Center, right?
Okay.
But our quality of work, I think, is just as good. We'll do everything from basic setups, cleaning up, doing small chip fill-ins, fret work. Matt's really good at fret work. And like I said, the pickup swaps and all that. So we kind of offer all the services that really Guitar Center does at probably like half the price.
Nice.
Plus our turnaround's a heck of a lot quicker. I think, obviously being a smaller shop too, people not really probably knowing about us too much, but we get a steady stream. We're able to keep on buying it. Get a pretty good turnaround time on repairs is pretty good.
Where do you see most of your customer base comes from? Pretty much like in the north of the cities, northwest of the cities? Or are you getting people all the way from St. Paul?
Yeah, I think all over Twin Cities, being that we're kind of focused on the metal thing. We get a lot of people coming in from all over the metro, north, south side, all over. So.
And you're located where for the audience?
9100 85th Avenue North, Brooklyn Park. It's right, the Osceo's our backyard. Across the street is Maple Grove. But it's all right in that corner there, basically 85th Avenue North and County Road 81.
Cool. If we can get you to shoot a picture of the front of the building, or if you've got some great pictures of the front of the building, and maybe even in the interior, we'll throw that right here. And,
awesome.
Yeah. Send some people your way, I hope.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool, man. Well, let's talk about music. It sounds like you're one of those guys that's kind of knows everybody and been in the scene for a minute and kind of has a bit of a history there. So tell me your journey.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that I've been in the scene. I've always enjoyed playing music and being in bands and writing music. But I got married and had, our first kid pretty young. So I was the guy that everybody hated because I would just go to my own shows. Right. Until I probably got a little bit older and a little more, was able to leave a little bit more. But yeah, I think I played my first show in 1992 and just got hooked from there, and writing the music and being able to perform it and then hang out with people in the studio. Cause you play the shows, it's 30 to 45 minutes, but you're spending how many hours and weeks and months in a room with
prepping for it,
people and getting to know them and writing the music with them. It's been a huge huge part of it. That's probably more fun than playing the shows. The show is just kind of like a quick reward, I suppose, if
Right.
you get a good reaction, crowd response. Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time, man.
How old were you in 92? Let's put it
14.
14 years old.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I played our first show at Rockville Unlimited. I was in a band called Dominator. And I got hooked, and then all through high school playing, house parties and stuff like that, and all thrash metal back then. And get in my 20s, start playing the clubs, Sharky's Underground and North Star and Bar and all that stuff, and all places that are no longer around, right? So, but yeah, pretty consistent. Couple lulls here and there for a year or two, maybe take off. I quit playing music for about a year and a half, and wife pretty much said she was going to kill me if I didn't go back to it because I was pretty crabby, and just haven't stopped since,
Yeah. So wife knew it was something you needed.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to have that support system.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife doesn't like me to talk about it, but she tried to get out of music a couple of times too. But, I met her when she was a singer on stage, and that's kind of, part of the glory of our relationship.
Yeah.
So I keep pushing her, get back in there, because she's something else.
If it's in you, it's in you, man.
Yeah.
It's tough to I've seen people try to leave, and you most times end up coming back at some point or another.
Yeah. Rock on, man.
Yeah.
So why guitar?
So I started playing drums and guitar pretty much at the same time, but I couldn't practice drums as much in the house as I could as guitar. So, but no, I don't know. I think, growing up, Mick Mars, seeing him on MTV, and then Kirk Hammett and Dave Mustaine, and, they seemed all like cool people, ripping it up, shredding up on stage, because I think I started playing when I was 12. And of course, when you're that young, you see, back then you didn't have the internet. It was all the magazines, and you see all these cool rock star photos and all that stuff. It's like, oh, I want to be the rock star, you know what I mean? And have all the glitz and glamour, and, find out 30 years later and 40 years later, it's, it sucks, right?
Not quite as fancy as you thought it was.
But, after that, after you get through all that imaginary part of it, and you start learning your instrument and figuring out what you can actually do with it, and you don't care about all that. You just want to keep playing and being creative and writing, and that's when you kind of get hooked on it.
So did you ever, along your path, were you ever in a band that felt like was going to make it, to a higher level and touch fame or playing?
I think by the time I was actually playing in bands and then taking it seriously, never really had thoughts of that. It was always more of like, okay, what's the next better gig? Never really had the aspirations of what's making it, especially playing, thrash and death metal. Nobody was making, Cannibal Corpse is probably the biggest death metal band out there, and they're probably not raking it in, you know what I mean? But they're still
for sure
out there playing big clubs and venues. And, I think they did a stadium tour, Slayer, on one of their last legs of their final tours, and I think that's the biggest thing they ever got to do.
I always thought the biggest thing was when they did a cameo in Ace Ventura.
Right. That kind of took them out, because that was during the Bleeding album, and I think that that kind of gave them a huge uptick for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I don't think they got paid a lot of money for it either.
Probably not.
And they as far as I understand it, Napalm Death was actually the first choice for Jim Carrey, but they weren't able to make it over.
Really? Interesting.
So Cannibal Corpse is kind of, because I guess Jim Carrey is a big death metal fan or whatever.
Yeah.
So Cannibal Corpse is like his backup choice.
That's funny. That scene of him, just kind of bouncing around in a mosh pit just still goes through my head all the time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films of all time.
Too Mutilated. That's the album they're on. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, that was cool to see. As a death metal fan, you don't see that movie.
Exactly. One of the cooler things that I have seen happen, Stranger Things is a good example, but I've seen a lot of films actually coming out now that are like the background music is like alternative or, even thrash or whatever. And I'm like, hey, that's cool, because when we were kids, you hear like it's orchestra or, whatever, which still has its place and still makes it into a lot of stuff. But I like how they're pulling in kind of our youth and our pop culture now into a lot of the films that are coming out. So interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So you picked up guitar and drums. Have you still play drums now?
So I didn't play drums for a long time, and now I recently just started a band where I'm playing drums. It's kind of like a sludgy crowbar-ish project.
Okay.
And so I'm like basically learning the drums.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff, but it's coming pretty quickly. We got some tunes written, so it's just something I wanted to do to pick back up again now that I have a little more time, space to set them up to play them. So that's been really fun. So hopefully by fall we'll have enough songs to maybe drop an EP or something like that. I'll be playing drums on that. So yeah, that's really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you practice in the shred den, or you practice somewhere
Upstairs,
else?
yeah, I got a studio upstairs there. Yep.
Nice, nice. And so you got your what kind of kit do you rolling out up there?
D drum D2 kit, 8-piece, double
Nice.
axle, double kicks too.
Nice,
And I run Zildjian S and just Zildjian dark cymbals.
nice. Yeah, I'm 47 years old. When I was young, I played alternative stuff because that's kind of like where my skill set was.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to be a better drummer and have
Yep.
like the full double. And I'm 47. I've got my full double kick kit. And,
Yeah.
toms everywhere, cymbals everywhere, because now
exactly.
I can afford it. And
Yeah.
now I can actually kind of play it. So
Right. Exactly. It's awesome.
nice to live that 14-year-old dream when I'm 47.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, man.
Yep.
Cool. So, tell me about some interesting stories out there in the scene. If you're out there playing,
I'm not. I don't know. I've been asked this question before. I think actually on Starner's podcast was the last one I did, and I don't really have a lot of interesting stories. I'm usually not in those situations or something.
have you played big shows? You've been on some of these big festivals that are going on, and
Every year we play like Slam Dakota and Sioux Falls, which is getting bigger every year. Train wrecked at Chicago Domination Fest, which was a few years ago, which was one of the bigger fests in the Midwest, and I think it was the last year they were doing it. Played Las Vegas Death Fest in 2019 with a band I was in called Septicemic. That was pretty cool. And we played right before Vitriol. It was 2 rooms, in the venue. And we played one side and the Vitriol played next, so that was pretty cool. And then I had been, talking to Kyle Rasmussen online for a while, so I actually got to meet him in person because he's, huge guitar collector, Jackson guy too. So, that was pretty cool. Other than that, not really a lot of stories as far as crazy, interesting things. I like to show up and just kind of set up, play, do my thing, and then watch the rest of the bands. But yeah, I mean, we've done some cool shows though, but that's probably about it.
that's all right.
Vegas was cool just because it's just to get out of the Midwest.
Right.
Because we played the Dakotas, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois. We've been booked down in Texas and Tampa. Unfortunately, those 2 we had to cancel. But yeah.
So do you feel like it's a pretty strong community still here in Minnesota?
I think in the Midwest for sure. I mean, you got bands like Gorgatron up in Fargo, Pursuit, who's up in Moorhead. Bunch of bands down in Omaha. So I think the Midwest is pretty strong for sure. It's gotten probably, I'd say, last 10 years or so, it's really built up. Really good network. The shows usually do pretty well, in, whoever's coming through town. It's a pretty good support system here in Twin Cities too. There's always a ton of shows going on. There's usually pretty packed.
So that's interesting. So I've heard from, and I think even maybe you said this earlier as well, a lot of the old venues have closed down.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of new venues that are kind of taking their place and still keeping things vibrant.
I think so. As being an older guy in the scene, right? I'm going to be 50 this year. I've seen a lot of venues come and go. And then you got a lot of these other, like, oh my God, nobody supports the venues and the venues are closing down. It's like every time one closes down, another one seems to pop up. I don't think there's ever really been a lack of venues. It's just where they currently are, right? Just got to kind of follow them. But yeah, the venues here are, pretty good, pretty supportive. Club Underground is one that it's been really good to me and some of my friends over the years. But yeah, I don't think there's a lack of venues here for sure.
What's the coolest venue or coolest show that you remember playing in the Twin Cities?
My favorite show, it's 2 of them, but I'm probably going to go with the Overkill show. We played with Overkill doing direct support for them in Nile. And that was like at the Caboose, and place was packed, man. We had a really good set. We had people stage diving during our set. Mosh pits are insane. Sound is really good. And then Overkill is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. One of the first, really hardcore bands I got into when I was younger. So that was pretty rad. And then I think it was a couple years ago we played the Deicide 25th anniversary show at the Caboose for Legion. The Legion album. So that was pretty cool too. Those are probably my 2, and both of them are at the Caboose.
Yeah, Caboose is kind of a cool spot. I've only been in there
Yeah,
twice, I think.
it's a super weird
Which
layout.
seems like it could be perfect if it's got the right
If you put
amount
the
of people and
stage,
the
well,
right
if you put the
vibe.
stage at the other end of the building,
Yeah.
so when you go in, they got that weird half moon
Y-
stage up there. It's
yeah.
in the
Right in the
center of the
middle of
room.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a cool venue, man. I've always had good shows there.
Cool. Awesome. So, what are some other venues in town that you really like to play? I know you said the Club Underground or
Yeah,
whatever, but
Club
yeah.
Underground's pretty cool. Amsterdam's a great room. Love
Mm.
that stage. Amsterdam and the Caboose are probably the two favorite ones. Skyway Studio B is always fun. That's a really good one. Good location. You know, those are probably some of the bigger venues. Now, there's venues that I haven't been to, like the Flying V, which is here in Robbinsdale here, is pretty good.
It's literally across the street there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
It's
doing
pretty
like
neat.
young straight edge stuff over there, which is
Yep.
pretty cool for the young kids. So I haven't been over there yet. I heard some really good things about that. Clash Drums is another DIY place over Northeast. I've heard really good things. I've been there. I've shopped there. I bought a snare there.
Yeah.
Checked out the venue, the room down there. So that's pretty cool. So again, that's just other things, new things that are popping up, right?
Yep.
So those are all pretty cool things.
Yep. Yeah. I think it was Nathan actually who came in and was talking. He and I were talking quite a bit about the Flying V and how refreshing it is to have a place. So like I've got teenagers now that are kind of getting into my kind of music,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I'm so happy to send them off to a spot where
Yeah.
there's no drugs, no alcohol, it's
Yeah.
nothing going on, but they're listening to the same, heavy music and
Right.
jumping around and, just letting loose.
Yeah.
Cause it seems like maybe there's not as many, and maybe it's just me, but it seems like there's not as many things like that you can do now.
Yeah. Well, even when I was growing up, the only place I could remember that was the garage in Burnsville, right? Which is on the city hall campus, basically.
I think that place closed, didn't it?
I think they just closed within the last year or so, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have been around for a long time since I was a teenager. I know that.
I think we were there the night they closed. We actually
Okay.
went to see a local band called Collapsia
Okay.
and a couple other, heavier bands or whatever. And we actually were in the parking lot, and the only people that were there were the bands, and like the venue.
Oh,
The
wow.
venue just decided they didn't want to open.
Oh, wow.
The guy just decided, nah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Huh.
And
Crazy.
so they were able to book another bar close
Yeah.
enough and went over there and put on a great show. But
Nice.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But that's the only really kind of, Crystal Community Center right down the road, but they only did that for a couple summers. But as far as, straight edge sober venues around, I don't remember too many when I was coming up.
Yeah. I know that my kids will go sometimes to it seems like their house parties or something like
Mhm.
that, but it's the same theme, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight edge and
Yep.
out in like the college area,
Mhm.
which is cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you got a couple of bands going right now.
Yep.
Just tell me some cool projects that you're working on.
Yeah. So, Glutton for Punishment is kind of my main project. Been doing that, originally started 2003, 2004. Big hiatus from there, but then back in 2012, really started taking that into gear and started recording albums. So right now we're currently have 11 songs we're finishing up pre-production for. We have all the 1459 studios booked for all of May to record it.
I was going to ask where you record, if you
Yep.
record at your spot too, but no. So I had Will Maravellis on
Yep.
a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
It
nice.
might have been last week
Yep.
before. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Cool-
great
cool
guy. Really
dude.
good friends with him.
Yeah.
So we'll be recording with him all of May, and then put some pressure on him to hopefully have it all finished sometime in June, so we can have it released for Slam Dakota, which we'll be playing in Sioux Falls, July 10th and 11th.
Nice.
So that's kind of all Glutton has going on right now. We took a lot of time off to write and prep to record this album, so we haven't been playing any shows. Die Hardcore, Jay recently left us for his own reasons. And so we got Aaron Ryan, who used to play with Avalanche, used to play in a band with him, Mastiff. He's coming in. He's writing some new material with us. So Die Hardcore is still going. Just kind of a training in session for them, and then the Sludge Project I'm doing drums on. So
Yeah, I look forward to hearing that.
yeah,
That's pretty cool, man. I love me some old school Crowbar.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit fast. We're all death and thrash metal guys, so we're trying to figure out how to slow down the tempos a little bit. We'll get
How
there.
to bring it down. Yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, great. So, I mean, like I said, I always wrap this up with the same question. Oh, first of all, are there any stories or anything that you thought about that you wanted to bring to the table that you haven't had a chance to share yet?
No, I don't think so. I mean, appreciate the shout out for the Shred Den. That's been really, really fun. So anybody that's looking for, some pointy guitars or loud high gain amps or need something worked on, bring it on in. Thursday through Saturday we're open right now. Summer hours might go back to full Monday through Saturday, but winter we went, Thursday to Saturday. But and then hopefully this summer bands start kicking back off some shows.
Nice. Yeah, and we'll do our best to get your name out there as wide as we can and get you some more customers in the door. So
yeah, awesome.
I think it's one of those things that either people know you exist or they don't know you exist.
Right.
And if we can let more people know, I think you'll certainly grow in the right direction. So last question I always ask everybody is, who should be next? Who do you recommend would be the next best guest on this show?
Did you say you have Greg Chilton coming on already?
No, I'm going on Greg's. I asked him to come on. I asked him to come on mine, but
yeah.
he seemed like he was maybe a little too busy to consider it. So.
Okay.
But I can poke him again now.
Yeah.
He gave me permission to do so.
Right. But you said you already had Will on. Ooh, Josh Kellerman. He'd be a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Josh?
It's a name that I have heard. I probably
that dude's probably got.
I think he's been recommended by Slag, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I think those guys recommended him. Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to talk to somebody that dives in, and especially into the local scene from eons ago, that has stories. That'd be your guy for sure.
And he's kind of like he's a bit of a promoter too, right?
Yeah,
he puts shows together in addition
some shows
to
at Club Underground.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the vocalist in Die Hardcore.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Yeah, he'd be a great guy. He's a host of the Root of All Evil. He does host up there at KFAI.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Oh, the Root of All Evil?
Yeah.
It's the longest
radio
running,
show?
It's the longest running metal radio show in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Earl
Awesome.
Rutt. Earl Rutt started that. Long time ago. He passed away, unfortunately, I think in 2006 or so. But anyway, yeah, they kept it going. It's Sunday mornings technically, 1 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Huh. Well, now I'm intimidated by bringing Josh on. He's a proper radio host. I don't know if I can hang with him. So
I wouldn't go that far as a proper radio host.
No,
he's a good guy.
He goofs off a little bit.
He goofs
Then,
a little
then we'll be a perfect fit. So.
Yeah.
So you don't have to stop there. One person, Josh Kellerman, is great. If you have anybody else you want to.
Yeah, Josh would be great. You already had Nate on. You had John on. Greg. Matt Parkins, maybe.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Matt Parkins?
I haven't heard of Matt Parkins.
He plays guitar in a band called Valsunga Songa.
Valsunga Sangha.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of a folkish metal band. He worked at Capitol Guitars for a lot of years. So he's got a lot of stories of musicians coming in and out of that stuff. So he's a good guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the trip all the way out here. And
no, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate
good
having me.
chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Hey there, Minnesota music family. If I haven't personally reached out to you yet, consider this your 100% official invitation to join me on the Minnesota Music Note. I'm Will McLeod, co-founder of the podcast crew here in beautiful Robbinsdale, host of the show, and the guy behind the kit for the band Hits and the Misses. I started this podcast because I want to get to know the people who make our scene tick. Whether you're fronting a band, spinning hip-hop, running sound, booking shows, running shows, or teaching the next generation of talent, your story belongs here. We've had everyone from videographers to festival organizers on the mic, and we're just getting started. It doesn't matter if you're playing arenas or just making magic in your basement. If you're part of the Minnesota music community, I want to chat. Slide into my DMs or hit the email below, and let's hang out and talk shop.
Fuck yeah, if you missed it, we're glutton for punishment from Minneapolis. We've been here many times. We fucking love Slam Dakota. Give it up for yourselves for coming out, huh? Fuck yeah. You guys ready for some more? You ready for some more? This one's called Ferociously Defleshed. that great? It's great. Yeah!